Every story's got a spark, and every spark's got a name. This is the journey of finding mine. Who am I when the lights go low? Who am I when the world says no? Searching through my past, trying to free my soul, one truth at a time, letting every story unfold. Who am I?
Yeah, I'm more than the pain,
Who am I?
more than the pride. Who am I?
Who am I?
Walking in purpose, no mask, no disguise. This is my voice, my rise, my life. Welcome to Who Am I?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Who Am I podcast with your 10 minutes to refocus. This is your midweek reset. I'm your host, Jeff Hopgood, and today I want to talk to you about whose voice are you listening to? Turning down the noise and tuning into truth. See, by this point in the week, life can start sounding loud. Your phone is buzzing, notifications are popping up, deadlines are approaching, conversations are replaying in your head, and somewhere in the middle of all that noise, your mind starts running commentary. Did I make the right decision? What if I'm not good enough? Maybe I should be doing more. Maybe I should be further along by now. See, midweek has a way of amplifying the noise because when you're tired, your mind becomes more vulnerable to voices that don't serve you. The voice of comparison, the voice of doubt, the voice of pressure, the voice of criticism. And if you're not careful, those voices get so loud that you forget what truth sounds like. So today we're going to slow down. Today we're going to quiet the noise because clarity doesn't come from louder voices. It comes from the right voice. See, every one of us lives with an internal conversation, not just thoughts, conversations. Your mind is constantly interpreting your experiences, and depending on what voice you've been listening to the most, that interpretation can either empower you or undermine you. See, some people have a voice that constantly encourages them, but many of us grew up with something different, an internal critic, a voice that questions every move, a voice that reminds you of past mistakes, a voice that says things like, "You're not ready. You'll probably mess this up. Other people are better than you. Don't try too hard. You might fail." And here's the tricky part. That voice often doesn't sound like an enemy. It sounds familiar because sometimes it echoes things we heard growing up. Sometimes it reflects criticisms we received in the past. Sometimes it's the voice of comparison that social media quietly planted in our minds. And after a while, we stop questioning it. We just accept it as truth. But hear this clearly. Not every voice in your head deserves authority. Some voices were planted by fear, some were planted by insecurity, and some were planted by other people's limitations. And some voices were formed during seasons when you were still learning who you are. But just because a voice has been present for a long time doesn't mean it is correct. So let's talk about how noise distorts the truth. See, noise doesn't just distract you. Noise distorts your perspectives. Think about it. When the room is loud, it becomes difficult to hear one clear sound. The same thing happens internally when your mind is full of pressure, doubt, expectations, and comparison. The voice of truth gets buried, and truth tends to be quieter. Truth doesn't scream. Truth doesn't panic. Truth doesn't rush. Truth is steady. Truth says you're still learning. You're making progress. You don't have to have everything figured out today. You're allowed to grow at your own pace. But if the loudest voice in your life is criticism, pressure, or fear, you start believing things that aren't true about yourself. So let's pause for a moment. Take a breath and ask yourself honestly, whose voice has been shaping my decisions lately? Is it the voice of fear? The voice of comparison? The voice of past failure? Or is it the voice of wisdom? Is the voice guiding me patient or anxious? Is it encouraging or condemning? Is it grounded or frantic? Because the voice you listen to determines the direction in which you move. If you listen to fear, you'll hesitate. If you listen to comparison, you'll rush. If you listen to pressure, you'll exhaust yourself. But if you listen to truth, you move with clarity. So we have to reframe. We have to reframe what truth actually sounds like. See, truth rarely sounds dramatic. Truth sounds steady. It doesn't rush you. It doesn't shame you. It doesn't bully you. Truth is calm. Truth is patient. Truth acknowledges where you are without condemning who you are. Truth says this: you're growing, you're allowed to learn, and you're stronger than this moment. See, the voice of truth never demands perfection. It calls you toward progress. So this is what we have to do. We have to practice turning down the noise. But you may ask, how do we actually quiet the noise? See, we quiet the noise not by pretending it isn't there, but by choosing what voice gets the microphone. You can acknowledge doubt without obeying it. You can notice criticism without internalizing it. And you can observe fear without surrendering to it. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do midweek is simply pause and ask, is this voice helping me grow? Or is it keeping me stuck? Because the voice you give authority to becomes the direction of your life. So here's your midweek shift. Turn down the chaos. Turn down the comparison. Turn down the voice that says you're not enough. Turn down the voice that tells you to rush your growth. Turn down the voice that tries to shrink your confidence, and turn up clarity. Turn up truth. Turn up the voice that reminds you who you are becoming, because your journey deserves clarity. Your purpose deserves focus. Your peace deserves protection. The world will always produce noise, but you decide. You make the decision what voice you will follow. Say this with me. I choose truth over noise. I release voices that create fear and confusion. I refuse to give authority to doubt. I refuse to let comparison define my pace. I trust the wisdom within me. I trust the process unfolding in my life. My mind is steady. My direction is clear. My growth is intentional. The voice of truth guides me, and I move forward with confidence. So take this final thought with you as we wrap things up. Midweek isn't about silencing every voice around you. It's about choosing the one that leads you toward truth. Turn down the noise, tune into clarity, stay grounded, stay focused, and stay anchored. So before we move forward, I want you to pause for just a moment. Take a breath. Wherever you are, whatever you're carrying, this next part is for you. Let's speak life over ourselves out loud if you can. Because what we say in this moment has the very power to shift how we walk into the rest of our day. Let's begin with our affirmation. I am not defined by my past or limited by my mistakes. I am growing, learning, and becoming who I was created to be. I have value beyond titles, roles, and expectations. I choose honesty over fear and growth over comfort. I am allowed to change, heal, and evolve. I walk with purpose, clarity, and courage. I am becoming more aligned with my true self every day. And who I am is enough. So as we close today's episode, I want to thank you for taking this time for yourself. If something you heard inspired you, challenged you, or made you pause and reflect, please, I beg of you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this episode with someone who may need it. Invite them into the conversation. See, this podcast grows when we grow together. I cannot do this without you. I cannot stress that enough. And see, we grow together through shared stories, honest reflections, and real connections. Every listen, every share, every conversation helps create a community rooted in purpose, rooted in hope, rooted in faith, rooted in love, trust, and truth. So until next time, keep reflecting, keep becoming, and remember, you matter. This is the Who Am I podcast with your 10 minutes to refocus, and let's walk this journey together.
Who am I? Yeah, I'm more than the pain, more than the pride. Who am I? Who am I? Walking in purpose, no mask, no disguise. This is my voice, my rise, my life. Welcome to Who Am I?